Welcome back to the Overwatch League, Dallas, Texas. That's right, our first homestand weekend. Doan Monte Cristo here, and it's time for the Houston Outlaws versus the Seoul Dynasty. Houston Outlaws, the almost home team.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of Houston
Close
fans
enough.
here, though.
Yeah,
It's
oh,
gonna be a cheer
absolutely.
on, for sure.
Absolutely. So, should be a pretty insane match. Should be a lot of fun, obviously, like you mentioned. A lot of fans of Houston here. Houston, Dallas, as far as like spaces in the United States go, not too far apart. As far as like Texas goes, maybe it's a little bit of a way, a little bit of a drive there, but either way, it should be a good time. Let's take a look first at our Stage 2 standings. You saw them change a little bit just a moment ago. Spark jumping up there, but if we look at the two teams in this match, Outlaws have a lot of catching up to do, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And both of these teams have only played 3 matches in Stage 2 so far. And the Dynasty are going to have to play the Titans again later this stage. So this is really, if Seoul wants to go 4-3 and have a shot at Stage 2 playoffs, they must win this match.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely the playoff talk is kind of what you think of when you look at the Seoul Dynasty right now. And like you mentioned, man, that second Vancouver Titans, it's bad enough to have to play the Vancouver Titans once in a stage, but they have to do it twice. So
on the plus side, they won't play them again in Stage 3 or 4. So you get it out of the way now.
That is true. So it does make this match against Houston very important. For Houston, the important thing is to just get some wins on the board. It's been really tough for them.
Yeah, it's been ugly. It's been ugly, Noah. Like, how else do you say it? Right now, the Houston Outlaws, they played 3 matches in this stage, and on escort, assault, and hybrid maps, they have been full held on 2/3 of those maps, 6 out of 9 so far. So their attack has been anemic. We need to see more from them on the offense, because the other side of that is some of their defenses have actually been pretty good.
Yeah.
So they just need to have more oomph when they're on those first points of those kind of non-control map types.
I couldn't agree more. And the thing that I think we've seen from the Houston Outlaws, in my opinion at least, is when they put out some of those DPS players, when they unleash Linkser on the Widowmaker, you know, when they get people a little bit more involved on the damage dealing side of things, I feel like we do see some sparks of life. And like you said, the defense is okay, but what do you think about bringing a little bit more offense to the offense?
I mean, it is map dependent. Like, you look at a map like Rialto and you're not going to get that. But if you have a map like Junkertown, potentially there is some wiggle room there for the Houston Outlaws. So I think it's all about those map types as we're looking at and whether they're going to get what they need. It's also one of the things that we've seen is Arhan coming into that Brigida position. They've been swapping a lot of players around on Brigida this season. So hopefully we see Arhan. They may have decided this is what we're going with for this stage, stabilized a little bit when it comes to the musical chairs they've been playing with their roster roles.
It's got potential anyway. But let's take a look at the flex supports between these two teams. Obviously, that's going to be a matchup that people are going to want to watch. It's going to be Raucus taking on Jaehong. So one of the veterans of Overwatch in Jaehong in Korea versus one of the veterans in the flex support position from the North American region. Raucus, of course, lots of laurels on this guy from the early days of Overwatch. And it's fun to watch these guys play against each other. Obviously, stats-wise, aside from healing done, Jaehong looking okay, but I think this stat box is very telling about these two styles, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Obviously, Raucus tops in the healing, Jaehong near the bottom of the league, but Jaehong's out there doing the damage as well, and they're 5th and 6th, respectively, when it comes to getting the sleep darts hit. And honestly, I think Raucus has been pretty good on Ana this stage, and so I would, if I was a Houston Outlaws, I'd definitely lean into that as opposed to having him on the Zenyatta, which I think is a weaker hero for him.
He's certainly one of our better non-Korean flex supports in the league, of course, and one of the best players on the Houston Outlaws, dare I say. Not that I have any sort of bias towards flex support players in Overwatch. Of course not. You know me, but, it's true.
I mean, I think his Ana is up there, and I think that they are moving into a meta where Ana is becoming increasingly prevalent, even in the 3-3 compositions.
Yeah.
So just go with that if you're the Outlaws.
Well, that's good for both of them, right? Because Jaehong kind of made a name for himself back in Korea on the Ana, hitting these insane sleep tarts, really being really good on that. We'll see what he brings today. But it's time to introduce our first team in this matchup. Crowd, let's hear it for the Houston Outlaws. But it might as well be a home crowd for Houston, too.
There are a lot of Outlaws fans and jerseys here in the rabid So
I mean,
people coming to support the team for sure.
Even at the Blizzard Arena in LA, we have so many Houston Outlaws fans. This team has a rabid fan base. And why not, man? I mean, they've got a lot of fun characters on this team, of course, and Jake starting in the roster today.
I don't know what this means. Jake
It means Junkrat, Monty. It means Junkrat.
We'll see what happens here on Oasis, but is he going back into that Brigida role instead? Arhan would be my first question. I think they struggled with Jake on the Brigida, so we'll see how long he stays in.
Could be interesting to find out. Now, their opponents on the other side. Let's hear it for the Seoul Dynasty. Certainly a team to be reckoned with right now, kind of finding an alternate starting roster than we may have expected when the season began. Now running a lot with this core of Fitz and Marvel on the tank, and you know, slightly off tank kind of DPS role these days. He did bring out some Doomfist in their last match, which was really fun to see.
Yeah, and like you said, Toby had some really big plays up in their game against the Dallas Fuel. Obviously, notching a record number of environmental eliminations in a match for a Lucio player. It's a very important, his Lucio playstyle. And then also having Marvel in the tank has given them a more conservative, measured approach, more of a NYXL style of triple tank, three tank, three support, rather than the more aggressive style that they had with Vision.
Oh, I totally agree. I think it's one of the fun things to watch when they go forward. Linkser, of course, well, everybody's hoping. I am hoping, too, we get to see this guy on the Doomfist today. Dante, of course, coming over from the San Francisco Shock at the beginning of the year. And Muma, you gotta think the current tank pool in this meta is gonna be really good for this guy.
It's great. It's great.
Wrecking Ball, Risa Winston, that's it. And, of course, Jake. You don't even need a name on his jersey. Everybody knows who he is. That's right. Bonnie as well. As we get towards the support lineup as well, their main support. And
leaving us in suspense.
That's right. With, I would say, one of the most tame hairstyles we have ever seen from Raucus. He's taking this one very seriously. Let's take a look at our map set brought to you by Toyota. We're going to start things off, as we mentioned, on Oasis. Then Paris will be our Assault map, Blizzard World for Hybrid, and finally, Escort will be Rialto. And if we need it, and I hope we need it, that fifth and final tiebreaker map on Control. We'll see if we get there, but let's start things off here on Oasis.
Now, looks like we are going to be on City Center, so this is a map that does lend itself with the open sight lines to some more damage dealer compositions, and that's what we're going to see from the Outlaws right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. Jake on the Pharah as we get things started here. Meanwhile, on the other side, Soul running Michelle and Munchkin on some DPS as well. Linkser on that Soldier 76. This guy is so accurate with hit scan. Not surprising. We're getting a little bit low there. Oh, but Jake down early. Munchkin finds a headshot. It's a rough start. Michelle down as well. Outlaws trying to equalize here. Nice sleep dart on the Muma for a moment, but he rolls his way to safety. Jake coming back now, so I think the Outlaws have a good chance to take this one first. Muma taking down Munchkin, looking pretty good for Houston out of the gate.
Yeah, basically at the start of that fight, Michelle translocated back with about 1 HP, just a sliver, and was hunted down, so that evened up the eliminations. And now the Houston Outlaws just rolling here to cap the point first.
Absolutely, and Soul just trying to hold on as long as they can with Michelle on that Sombra, but it will finally be the control percent building for the Houston Outlaws. On the Seoul Dynasty side, they've started to build a little bit towards some of those ultimates. What do you think about Fitz on the Tracer on the Seoul side?
I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Fitz on the Tracer. He did get a very fast pulse bomb here, even though they lost the pay on it.
Sure. Jake, ooh, going after Hunamaku gets him. That's the splash damage, man. Splashed him right into the afterlife. Meanwhile, Justice raining from above. Onto Jaehong as well. Jake finishes him off. That's 2 kills for him in the last few seconds. Dante looking for a bit of his own action here. Going after the Lucio. Can't quite finish him off, though. Toby has like 1 health right now. Muma goes down. Toby, why did you take that fight? You can't do that. He's a brave Lucio, but I don't know about that one, man.
Yeah, nowhere to go. I mean, Seoul Dynasty sort of stuck on the point right now. Marvel drops the mines and then just has to get away from all of the damage. It's a scrappy match right now. Outlaws, though, pretty convincingly winning these skirmishes.
No kidding. Houston Outlaws up to 55% right now, built up. Good start for them, Seoul Dynasty. Maybe once this EMP comes online from Michelle, they'll have a better chance, but I feel like it's taking so long to build it. Jake again coming in. Oh, he gets hacked right before he could barrage, taken out. Unable to use his ultimate. That was big, but now Seoul Dynasty needs to follow through the stick. Comes in onto Jaehong. Dante with a big one there. Jake's still down, though.
Right, Nano Boost was used on Jake as well, so Linkser are going to have to pop the attack visor here just to buy some time.
That was rough. Yeah, Lynx are zoning people out with that tactical visor. It's a zoning ultimate. That's not a joke. It really was.
Dante's down.
All right. Houston holding.
Outlaws fans will be happy to see a good Tracer player on this roster, something they lacked last year, but that's what the trade with Dante was for.
95% for Houston Outlaws, so close to taking this first round here. Jake still has that barrage. He wasn't unable to use it earlier. Right onto Jaehong. There we go. You can't sleep dart from 1 millimeter away. Jake with 2 with the barrage, lives through it even. We're into overtime. Sound barrier for the Seoul Dynasty right now as they try to scramble, make something out of this. But even with the hack onto Jake, it's not going to matter too much. This should be Houston's round. It is 100-0 for the Houston Outlaws.
Now, dominant performance. They hunted down Munchkin when he was on the Widowmaker at the start, and then they made Jaehong's life miserable by just pushing their advantage with the DPS. Dante doing a great job getting sticks there. Jake, of course, dropping down with that barrage. So not a lot of opportunities for Jaehong to get the heals to his team, dying first in a lot of those fights.
That was really solid from Houston.
It was.
You know, what did we say coming into this match? If they get unlocked on some of these DPS heroes a little bit more, I feel like that's when they've been looking the best. And what do you know?
And we'll see if they can do it on Gardens. This is going to be a tougher map to play some of these DPS heroes, given the close quarters nature of it.
Don't tell Houston Outlaws that, though. I don't know it. They're going for it.
Seoul is going to be using the Moira here to give extra healing, and they're going to keep Fitz on the Sombra this time. So a lot of disruption.
I like that.
This damage from the Houston Outlaws, they're going to have a bit of trouble trying to get through all of that healing from the Moira. They're scouting right now, and all of Seoul is just waiting outside of the point at the moment.
Well, I think even Houston, a little bit unsure if they want to stick with this roster. Jake, though, over there with Bonnie on the point. They're at least going to put some damage on the Seoul as they come in. Jake needs to be a little bit careful here. They're going to go after Bonnie right away, though. They're going to get Muma in the process. Main takedown for Houston already. Seoul Dynasty with the 6v5, make it a 6v4. Lynx are on the run. I think we might see some roster changes here.
We might, and that was just a good setup from Seoul. They got Fitz into position and were hiding under cover so they didn't take chip damage beforehand and therefore start powering up the Outlaws' ultimates. They are going to switch over to the Rhine 3-3 right now. Will be good up against the Moira because they are going to have the Zenyatta Orb of Discord to focus down the main tanks and really just provide additional pressure onto that front line.
Yeah. Jaehong getting pretty close to building up the coalesce. 2 turns onto Fitz, the back line, harassing him a bit on that Sombra. Rather, Dante. 35% for Seoul Dynasty already. Here we go. Seoul going in. There's the EMP. They're going to try to run the coalescence as well.
Six-player EMP from Fitz. Great setup right there, and they had already started playing aggressively, knowing that the EMP was going to come in.
Yeah, well, you know how you have to play this round. This is one of those ones. You get to 99-99 a lot on Gardens for some reason, and to prevent that from happening, you just cannot let the enemy team get to the point.
Yeah, and right now they actually just go back and swap out Jaehong now that they have a breather. Toby goes back to provide the speed boost, so now they're in a better position here, a more ideal composition. Jaehong just dropped the coalescence. Dante looking for this EMP. He's not going to be able to hit all the players on this team, though.
Pretty good position for it. Gets detected, though. Self-destruct, finish him off. Gonna go in anyway. Michelle did get hacked during all that. Houston Outlaws on the outside looking in. Now Lynx are pooped in. Stun, they take him out. Great combo from Seoul Dynasty to finish off the Zarya. Marvel pops that Primal Rage, and it's really looking like the Seoul Dynasty are going to continue to hold here.
Yeah, Michelle really made the play because they used the self-destruct proactively because they knew the EMP setup was coming. So there wasn't any chance for the Houston Outlaws to follow up on the EMP because the self-destruct was zoning the rest of the team out.
Not bad. Muma really close to an Earth Shatter, so maybe they can get there in time. 99% already, though. Seoul Dynasty on the verge of tying this one up if they can hold off this last fight. Houston Outlaws walking in. They've only got the Transcendence and a few more ultimates coming online. They need to poke a little bit. Muma keeping the point alive right now. There goes Dante, though. 65 for Seoul. Shatter comes in for Muma.
Big Shatter.
Capitalize. Oh, that's a lot of kills. Jake gets a triple with the Brigida flailing away. Literally with that flail. And that's going to be Houston Outlaws. Clean fight for them. They will flip the point.
Great play by Muma. Even though they lost their Sombra, they were able to just make the play with the Earth Shatter. There's no barrier there to stop it coming in. So you see that bubble on cooldown from the Winston.
Yeah.
And that's when you can just walk right up. So good patience. Muma convincing Earth Shatter. Now the rest of Seoul Dynasty going to have to retake this point.
That was so clutch, though. Moomin needed that good Earth Shatter, and he found it. Hack onto Michelle to start things off. That's going to be the sound barrier for both teams. As Seoul Dynasty tries to get back on the point, they're going to lose Munchkin to Muma again, though. Lynx are low health, drops the grab. Can they follow up? It looks like they're getting enough kills out of it. Don't know if they needed that grab even.
I mean, Toby had to drop the beat early in that engagement because Muma got a pin.
Yeah.
So trying to save the remainder of his team. But now there's going to be an EMP coming from Dante on this next engagement. Soul tried to lose gracefully and use the fewest amount of ults possible after that sound barrier.
Well, that's the thing. And we talked earlier about how this particular point on Oasis goes to 99-99 a lot. This is why, because a team will get a lot of percentage, then lose it, then take time to push and build ultimates. Now Seoul Dynasty, I think this is the push they're going to want to try to flip it on.
We'll see.
Oh, they get hacked. That's a big one, everybody. Gets hacked on Seoul Dynasty. Everybody but Marvel immediately. Houston rocking in and getting 3. Marvel just jumps off. That's the reset.
Yeah, and Dante had the EMP up, so Seoul Dynasty needed to get rid of that first, but Houston Outlaws don't overplay their hand.
Yeah.
They continue to have a couple valuable support ultimates because they know Fitz has that Graviton Surge. They needed to save the Transcendence. They do get that value.
All right, Fitz, Graviton Surge, ready to go again. A lot of damage on Muma. Is fully charged. Shatter doesn't accomplish a whole lot. There's the grab. They got to get some kills. Transcendence comes in from Raucus, but there is Marvel to break it up with the Primal Rage. Soul chasing Houston off the point. They barely keep Fitz alive on the Zarya. Raucus down. It's looking okay for Soul right now. Jake is well taken out. We're into overtime. They still need to flip the point though, but I think they're gonna have no trouble doing that. They have flipped it back, and that's gonna be Seoul Dynasty as soon as they finish off this Sombra, tying things up here on Oasis. They've got it. We are going to the 3rd round.
And that's how you play with the Graviton. They knew that the Transcendence was going to be coming in. So they used the Primal Rage to displace people around the Graviton, split up the members of the Houston Outlaws, and then collapse on one of the flanks.
Right.
So that was got rid of Muma using the Primal, and then once his teammates were more vulnerable without that barrier there, without the threat of that Reinhardt, that's when they collapsed on one side. That was really well done by the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, and that's kind of a textbook in how to play in this 3-3 meta is you just try to find a way to carve either the Zarya or the main tank off of the team and divide and conquer, as it were. So, we're going to the university, and we're going to learn. That was a terrible pun. We're going to learn which one of these teams, going to be here all weekend, guys. Which one of these teams is going to win map number 1. Seoul Dynasty versus Houston Outlaws. Houston back on the DPS again. This is not a bad map for Farah.
Yeah, you'll notice Soul as well is still going to be going with that Winston because it does provide more mobility to handle these DPS. Or they've got to go back right now.
Swapping, yeah.
We'll see. They may want to get a McCree in here. They're going to switch to the Ana. Okay, so that's what's going to provide pressure. We saw those stats from Jaehong at the top of the league when it comes to dealing damage on Ana per 10 minutes.
Yep. Young should be able to help handle that Farah in theory. Didn't work so well in round number 1, but he's going to try it again. Jake staying well above everybody else. Houston Outlaws do take the point first, getting that control percent going. Jake really close to the barrage. Nice concussion grenade to separate some of the members of Soul. Goodbye Bonnie though. Seoul Dynasty finds that pick. And they are slowly muscling their way in onto this point right now. Houston getting bottled up in that side room. That's a lot of charge for Fitz. He's doing a lot of damage right now.
Oh, yes, he is, and that was the key pick onto the Mercy.
Yeah.
Because Jake can't play aggressively at that point any longer. The Ana was dealing a ton of damage to him before that was getting healed up. Doesn't have that opportunity now, so they will have to retake. Only got 14% for Houston.
Yep. Houston trying to retake again now. Earth Shatter ready for movement. They boop him out of the team. He tries to charge back. Anti-heal comes in. That was a perfect combo again from Seoul Dynasty, displacing Muma. Jaehong hits him with the biotic grenade. Nobody can heal him. That was just textbook again for the Dynasty.
I mean, this is a problem because they don't have a diva, the Houston Outlaws, so they're just going to keep getting hit by those biotic grenades. Seoul Dynasty, the Ana pick, ends up being very good, not only against the Farah, but because they're not playing a diva. So really easy to get that bio grenade onto the front line.
A lot of ultimates available for both of these teams. Houston does have all 6 though. They're gonna take it back. This is gonna be the time, but a preemptive grab comes in from Seoul. 2 kills already.
Nice sleep dart.
Very nice. That's Jaehong right there, man. Hitting those sleep darts.
And that's how you have to play. Seoul Dynasty knows Houston Outlaws have every tool available to them when it comes to that ultimate bank.
They only use the grab to win the fight, too.
And so this is great Overwatch when you see the good ultimate economy, using just that one ult, playing aggressively, knowing what tools the Outlaws have available to them.
Oh, self-destructing just catches Jake. He was just out in the open. That's how you do it. Bonnie down, Muma as well, and Seoul Dynasty getting so close. They are basically one fight away from winning this map.
Michelle's self-destructs on Oasis have been good across the board. I like the way that they're playing around them and initiating with them. Of course, in Overwatch history, we've seen a lot of self-destruct initiations, but not really this year.
Right. It's definitely fallen out of style, especially with the grab coming in being so integral as well. It's going to be Rockus popping that Transcendence as Houston tries to dive back onto the point. It's now or never, 99% for Seoul Dynasty. Houston needs to get the job done now. Oh, the Matrix are taken out. The sleep Matrix works out pretty well, and Marvel grabs a couple off of his ultimate. Now the Nano Boost over onto Vince, but it's all clean up. Seoul Dynasty dominated in the first round on Oasis, but coming back in style, they will go up 1-0 in this series.
Very well played by the Seoul Dynasty. Ana pick looks amazing. Outlaws fans dismayed, but they're used to it.
Well, oh, that's a low blow. We're not in LA anymore, Monty. You gotta watch yourself here. Quick break. We'll see if Monty's alive when we come back. Cross your fingers.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. How about that? All-star skins.
Those are pretty neat.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
I play both of those heroes. Lucio a little bit more, but I'm happy with both of those. Yeah. May 7th, guys. 200 tokens to pick those up. Should be pretty fun.
It will be. You can use that. You can use that skin when you lose to me in the All-Star game again.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen because I haven't been asked to play in the All-Star game. But if I am, I'm going to crush it. And do that.
I heard that last year too.
I remember in Barrage when I reflected with Genji Barrage that you shot at me with the fire right back in your face.
That's right.
And it's
that happened
been
years
all
ago.
me since then. No. 1v1 me, bro.
Okay. We'll do it later.
All right. Right now? Okay.
No, all right.
I guess we have to cast match. That's right. Well, Houston Outlaws, a strong first round, but going down overall to the Seoul Dynasty, 2-1 on Oasis.
Yeah,
What do you think?
It's interesting to have Jake back in the lineup. I think that, when they can run some of those multi-hit scan looks with Jake on the Pharah, like we saw in City Center, it was a really convincing round. I think, from the Houston Outlaws. It's when we saw them have to get back into the 3-3 mirror that there were problems. And they tried to skirt around those problems by throwing that Pharah into University, which I think was a clever idea. But because Seoul adapted so quickly, you know, they went back into the spawn room and changed up their composition, putting Jaehong back on that Ana. That really throws a wrench in the works. And honestly, Seoul is just getting better and better at using their ultimates and having that great ult economy. And we saw how smart they're playing around the Outlaws ults. It's really hard to play against Seoul right now that is looking, you know, increasingly like a lock to be a top 5 team in this league. They're 1 and 2 this stage, but like they are definitely a top 8 team right now.
Yeah, they're getting there really quick. And I mean, again, at the end of that last map, I mean, you put the Pharah up against one of the best Anas to ever play the game in Jaehong. It's going to be tough to take that on. So we'll see what Houston can do on our second map. We're going to go to Assault very soon, but how do you change things up if you're Houston? I think actually you don't change things up that much. Maybe. I think you keep going for a DPS focus kind of thing, but it's tough either way. It's going to be some changes though. Spree subbing in for Linkser on the Houston Outlaws. He's back. And Boink subbing in for Bonnie.
Yeah, and I mean, when we look at the main support role, we have seen a lot of Boink so far this season on that Lucio. Now, Spree is interesting because back in Stage 1, the Outlaws were playing a lot of Spree on D.Va as opposed to last year in 2018, where he was mainly a Zarya ace for them. So he does have at least that flexibility. We've seen a lot of cool mat this stage, no cool mat yet today, so they're still trying to figure out which players are going into the roster. They have kept Jake on, so I assume we are going to see the Brigida from him, but also potentially on Paris the Junkrat. You could do Orisa bunker compositions on point A on defense. So.
I'm so excited that we actually get to cast another game onto Paris. This is my favorite map right now because you see lots of crazy stuff.
You see a lot of crazy stuff.
We've even seen like crazy Sombra approaches from the attack on point A. I love this map.
I mean, we've seen so many heroes, like you say. Symmetra as well has sometimes appearing on this map. So Paris, this is a fun one. Will we just see the 3-3? There's a lot of options, especially on A for that defense. Houston, they may be playing for a more conservative style here on this defense with Dante on the Sombra and Jake on the Brigida. So mixing that up a little bit. Spree, not surprisingly, playing on the D.Va. So we'll see if they actually are going to run a Zarya-less composition.
It wouldn't be unprecedented, but a little bit surprising.
I mean, the issue here is that you really lack damage. And if you don't eliminate somebody with the Sombra and the Winston before they get to the point, the retake becomes incredibly difficult.
Right. Really putting a lot on Raucous' shoulders as well to do damage on that Zenyatta. Meanwhile, Seoul Dynasty rolling out. What are they going to do? It's going to be the Symmetra attack. Just scout a little bit. We'll see if they can continue.
Yeah, they're just scouting they're just scouting with the Symmetra right now. They also have the Sombra Invisible pushing forward. So Michelle is going to switch off, and they are just going to go for the 3-3 with the Winston.
Sure.
But this is
Dynasty approaching the point now.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult, I think, for Houston to deal with. We need to watch Muma very carefully because he's going to be the one responsible for carving somebody off right here.
Yep. That's the plan anyway. Houston Outlaws having a few people drop a little bit low already. Raucous needs a lot of help here. He's in trouble. Muma the one taken out first. So Spree demeched at the same time. This is going to be a really fast point A.
This is a disaster. Like,
roll.
I think it's really difficult to play this strategy if you are the Houston Outlaws, especially after Seoul goes back and switches, because you must deal damage on the flanks, and if you don't get that, you're just not going to be able to retake the point. You simply cannot stand and walk into that Zarya damage.
Do you think it's just a case of Houston expecting something different to come out of the gate?
It's possible, for sure. Or they may feel very confident in their ability to get picks on the flanks.
Well, Seoul Dynasty, a lot of momentum coming into point B here. The nice thing for Houston is that actually Seoul won so fast they didn't have time to really build their ultimates, so there's not a huge ultimate advantage for Seoul or anything like that at the moment.
I mean, for the Houston Outlaws, though, they need to get this EMP online now. And fortunately for them, Dante nearly has it.
He should have it in just a moment here. Meanwhile, Muma taking a lot of damage again. That Discord Orb doing so much work. Dante getting jumped on. They know he's going to have the EMP. They want to chase him down and take him out. Raucous is going to have to use that Transcendence to keep everybody alive. There's the EMP from Dante. Doesn't matter though. Seoul Dynasty coming in despite the hacks. Getting a couple kills with Marvel's Primal Rage. And now Houston in danger of giving up one of the quickest times I think we've ever seen on Paris.
I mean, this is 6 minutes. This is a huge time bank if they can't stall this out.
It's so crazy. Muma a little bit on his own here. They can't keep Dante alive either. Muma has a Primal Rage at least to take a little bit more time off the time bank, but it'll only be a little bit, it seems like, as Houston Outlaws are just in delay mode now. So, sound barrier. Maybe they can hold on just long enough, but with Spree getting popped on the neck, I don't know, man. Dante over on the Doofus, and that is it. Seoul Dynasty with a blisteringly fast take.
That is the
Paris.
second fastest Paris attack ever.
Wow.
So Seoul Dynasty ripping through the map.
Does not get much quicker than that, literally. Quick break, and when we come back, Seoul on the attack.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Well, the Houston Outlaws giving up a pretty quick attack round, but they're not out of it yet. It is their turn to go on the assault here on Paris. Amati, what do you think? What has been going on with Houston this stage? What's the issue here?
I mean, we just keep seeing like this revolving cast of players. It's almost like they play a few matches and they never are able to get good synergy with a starting core of players on the roster. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening here, but now that Jake's back in after Arhan has played every match so far this stage, and I just don't really understand the strategy that they're using, trying to play this sort of like 3-3 style without a Zarya and replacing it with a Sombra.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's enough damage. Like you're making a very specific decision to try and pick somebody off or disposition them, but you have to get that done because you have to buy time to get an EMP.
Well, sometimes you look at the Outlaws, and I feel like there's a lot of creativity there, but sometimes I feel like they kind of outsmart themselves with some of these strategies. It kind of seems that way. They're going on the attack now, though. Seoul Dynasty on the defense. Jaehong over on the Ana again, I think maybe in anticipation of a possible fire to deal with, but no doing this time. Just a regular old 3-3 with the Winston rather than the Reinhardt coming out of the Outlaws side.
Yep, so we are going to be looking at pretty mirrored composition except for the flex support difference.
Yep. That's right, Raucus having to take a bit of time, get his health back. Boink down already, though. Fitz gets the finishing blow, and Lucio a little bit out of position here. Sleep Dart comes in, doesn't connect with anybody. Seoul Dynasty, though, trying to get a couple exit kills. Can't find them, but eating some time off the time bank is important.
Yeah, Dante is playing the Diva, too, and this might be problematic because the teamfight win for Seoul was caused by the Biotic Grenade landing.
Yeah.
So, Biotic Grenade eating them as a Diva player is a mind game that people specialize in as Diva mains.
That Solo was split up here. Oh, but they found Rockets again. There goes Boink. Seoul just decimating the support line on the Houston Outlaws. And when there's no healing, easy to finish off the tanks. That was a ridiculously clean team kill.
Yeah, it was. And Seoul is playing much more aggressively. Like, if you told me right now that Fissure was in this match, I would believe you because this is how they play with Fissure. But he's not here.
Marvel is really quickly becoming one of the best tanks nights
I mean,
we've got in the league at the moment.
Yeah, he's a good player, and it's just this style from Seoul is somewhat new, but I love what I'm seeing, like playing so well around the ults they have available and just sort of repeatedly pressuring the Outlaws and just using one ult, but winning a team fight has been excellent Overwatch to watch from Seoul.
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, you know, Houston's going to need something like a Zenyatta pick on the Jehong or something like that, you know? They're going to need to get that man advantage here. They're going to push forward. Houston doing just that right now. Muma hit with the anti-heal. Oh, the sleep dart just barely goes wide from Jehong, trying to stay alive here. Muma slowly losing health. He has to back off to get healed. Now the rally comes in from Seoul to give everybody that extra armor. There's a nano boost onto Marvel as he continues to push the Houston Outlaws back again. Seoul not giving any ground quite yet, but Houston has a chance to push back in with Jake's rally.
Spree just got the Graviton.
Oh, but there's a grab from Fitz. Seoul Dynasty side, Spree is down. Saved his grab. They're going to need it on the next push. Self-destruct doing work for Seoul Dynasty. Munchkin down. Houston not done with this just yet, but the sound barrier from Seoul Dynasty should be able to push the Outlaws back. And it will.
And they used the self-destruct into the Graviton because they knew that Boink didn't have the sound barrier available.
Right.
You know, teams are getting better at playing around the Graviton self-destruct combo. So I think that's why we've seen Seoul go for more aggressive engagements with it. But if you know that that Lucio ultimate isn't there, that's when you can start to guarantee kills with the combo.
Certainly seems that way. So, Houston Outlaws now with a good amount of ultimates, getting some time on the point as they push forward here. Oh, Michelle eats Spreet's grab though. That's big. They're going to respond with the sound barrier to try to stay alive, but Seoul Dynasty, a big ultimate out of the way for them to deal with. And Jehong comes in, helps Munchkin get that kill onto Raucus. Soul Dynasty charging back on the point, and with the Primal Rage from Marvel, no chance for the Outlaws to complete that one just yet. Only one tick, and now only 40 seconds remain for the Outlaws to get anything done on their attack.
I mean, that's a disaster, Doa. They're getting the grab eaten because now Seoul Dynasty got another grab during that fight, courtesy of Fitz. They're going to have 4 ultimates to use. There's no sound barrier, so they can combo with the self-destruct again.
Oh, Fitz.
Here we go.
And oh, can get bound? Can it go ahead and use that grab? He catches a few people in it. Self-destruct could be big one. It is. 2 from Michelle. Gets a D-Mech onto Dante as well. And that may be about that. Houston Outlaws, you know, if they lose anybody else here, they won't even have time to kind of scramble attack here. It's going to be Muma just diving in by himself, trying to get a little bit done, trying to pull the Seoul Dynasty back. He's going to pop that Primal Rage, maybe get a couple knockouts here. But he's got to run in to Marvels as well. Overtime ticking away. Muma really low health. Seoul Dynasty unable to finish him off just there. Looks like Houston, they're trying to scrap out a win here. They've got Seoul Dynasty pushed back in that room. They might be able to do it, but Fitz doing a lot of damage from the side. 2 ticks from Houston. Can they hold on?
Hey, that's a great stall from Muma. He's brought new life here. Self-destruct gets thrown out.
All right, Seoul Dynasty, sound barrier for them now. They've got those extra shields. Houston Outlaws making go out of it. There goes Fitz, but Rock is taken out as well. But the Houston Outlaws turn it around at the last moment. Somehow, some way, Muma delivers the Outlaws a win on point A.
That was a huge play from Muma.
Yeah.
Getting that stall and buying the rest of the Outlaws enough time. The Seoul Dynasty, they did not think that the Outlaws were going to be able to make it back to the point. They got hustled into that side room where they had to come through the choke point to make it back onto the point, and that's when the Outlaws get that decisive win.
The Dynasty has a good amount of ultimates, so they've got the backbone ready to hold for a while, but gotta credit Houston for at least giving themselves a chance here to finish the map. Go into some extra innings with the time bank. Pushing forward now. What's Seoul gonna use? Here we go, Rally's coming in. Marvel jumping forward, gets stuck. Gets taken out. Houston with the advantage here. Now Muma, Primal Rage. Getting thrown at the point right now. Graviton Surge used by Fitz. They do manage to D-Mech Dante, but the sound barrier keeping everybody pretty safe. Transcendence used by Raucus as well. There goes Jehong. So Houston Outlaws starting to grind this one out. They get Munchkin as well. Dante down in the process, but Houston still with 4 people on the point for the moment. That said, Marvel certainly making things happen on that Winston, but Muma coming up big again.
Another Graviton available for Spree.
I think they've got plenty to finish this one off. Let's see if they can do it. Seoul Dynasty looking so good on point A, but the Houston Outlaws managed to turn this one around, and Now Seoul Dynasty, all they're trying to do is just kind of buy more time.
That's right. They're trying to switch to these stall heroes. Marvel now on the Wrecking Ball. They're trying to drain as much time as they can off the clock.
See if they can do it. Dante does take out Fitz, so that is something anyway. Houston Outlaws still staying on the point. Buma. Pretty far away, he just used that Primal Rage. Jaehong swapped over the Baptiste.
Dante tried to make it back so fast with the Wrecking Ball. Now they're going to go in. Another Graviton.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a really big one from Seoul. I can't believe they held on B. It's not over yet, but Seoul Dynasty barely keep themselves alive on the defense.
All right, 2 great stalls so far. One for the Houston Outlaws, winning that fight on point A, and now Seoul Dynasty getting back into the mix with the Baptiste and the Wrecking Ball here.
Yeah,
buying enough time to get Fitz another Graviton Surge, and there were no support ults for the Outlaws to help survive it.
Well, Jaehong's got that amplification matrix as well. He's got the Baptiste ultimate. Gives Seoul that extra damage. They want to use it.
I mean, they need to use it very fast because Spree getting another Graviton can't be allowed to happen because Seoul doesn't have a way to survive it. They swapped off.
You got to find a way to kill Raucus fast too. He's nearly got that Transcendence. Houston Outlaws need to keep him alive. Coming onto the point right now, they rotate around to the back. There's the amplification matrix down. A lot of damage coming through that from the Seoul Dynasty side. They get caught up in the ground though. Spree gets it off just in time. Self-destruct though for Seoul, pushes them back. Joan loses that immortality field. And now we just got Marvel swinging around. Nice slam onto the back line of the Outlaws, though.
They can't track down the supports, though. They're trying to get into the back line, but the Outlaw supports are living.
There goes Jaehong, though. Outlaws with the 6v5 initially. Munchkin kind of separated from the rest of his team. 1v1 versus Boink. It's a Portal combat. Boink down, though. Fatality. Seoul Dynasty keeping themselves alive. They did lose Fitz, though, to Dante. He's going to come back fast, so the defense has the quicker respawns. Seoul Dynasty can hold on, but Marvel gets another one with his or gets gotten by the self-destruct anyway. There's the grab. Are you kidding me? Spree with another one. And now Muma swinging through with that Reinhardt. That might be enough. May for Jaehong, but he does not live that long. And now the last member of Seoul drops the minefield, but that is it. I cannot believe that the Houston Outlaws are forcing this to time bank. What a round for them.
And crucially, they did it with time left on the clock. So still an opportunity here for the Outlaws to continue pushing through.
Yeah. Wow. How about that? Quick break, and when we come back, time bank. And it is time to see what these two teams can do with their time bank. 6 minutes and 22 seconds for Seoul Dynasty. That is insane. Only a minute for the Houston Outlaws, but we've seen when it comes down to clutch moments, the Houston Outlaws certainly delivering here on Paris.
And they can get another 30 seconds by capping point A. So
yeah,
was a struggle. Obviously, Houston pushing it to the limit on point A last time. They will be going with the standard Winston 3-3 again. Seoul Dynasty going to be doing the same defense with Diana.
Houston has to get something done so fast, though. You cannot waste any time.
I mean, the choice here is, do you poke through or do you try and play aggressively? They're going to jump right into the point, move on with the bubble, getting the Zarya some energy. So
exactly.
Starting to charge up.
And just trying to give Spree a bit more damage. Seoul Dynasty, though, doing the same thing. Fitz building up. There goes Rockets. That's big. That's real big. As now they're going to have to back away. Oh, sleep dart onto Muma. They actually managed to finish him off, too. Those exit kills are going to be huge. It's not going to leave the Houston Outlaws nearly any time to get another attack going.
No, and especially because Raucus died first, that means he's not very far along to his Transcendence. Spree got hardly any ult charge, so they're going to be walking into Fitz's Graviton with no defense.
It's going to be so tough for the Houston Outlaws to take this point.
They got to eat the grab, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Dante has to come up big on the Diva. It's going to be on him. They got to move forward here. Fitz getting so close to the grab. Now we're into overtime again. Seoul on the point right now, waiting for some of their ultimates to come online. Oh, but Marvel down. Somehow, that Houston Outlaws got him separated from the rest of the team. Spree with a big kill there. Fitz waiting to use that grab. How much does the Seoul Dynasty give up here? Michelle down. Are you kidding me?
That's a huge pickoff. Good stun. And now they're going to take A.
Wow. I can't believe it. The Houston Outlaws, they're actually going to do it. They actually take point A. That is a fight they had no business winning.
Well, it's a good pickup, right? You get the stun onto the tank. There wasn't the support necessary. And even better for the Outlaws, they managed to get Transcendence and a Graviton of their own.
Yeah.
So now there's a real shot for them to capture B.
Well, Spree still got that grab. He's going to go and use. Oh, he gets eaten by Michelle. Michelle ready on the Diva to take away the Graviton Surge. And now Raucus uses a Transcendence. A lot of stuff being dedicated right now from the Outlaws, but they need to get more out of it. Dante down, Seoul Dynasty looking okay right now. We're going to go into OT again. There goes Jake and Spree, and it looks like this is where the attack is going to end for the Houston Outlaws. They took point A, but Seoul Dynasty holding strong on B. And now Houston have a long time bank to defend against when we switch sides.
It's going to be difficult for the Outlaws, but they were clutch on a couple of those attacks, winning at the last possible second and keeping themselves in this game. So right now, we are going to see the Seoul Dynasty move to that attack.
Yeah.
They take point A, still a chance for the Houston Outlaws to defend well enough to draw.
It's going to be one of the longest defenses in history, though. 6 minutes and 22 seconds. I think that is going to legit be one of the longest possible defenses that you can do in Overwatch.
I mean, we don't have the biggest sample size with Paris, but it was the second fastest attack, and they got more time because the Houston Outlaws had sub 10 seconds, so we got another 50 seconds or so added to the clock for the Seoul Dynasty.
It's a pretty crazy situation here. Seoul Dynasty, all they need to do is take point A and then get a single tick on point B to win the match. But Houston Outlaws, you know, if they can get a good point A defense going, even if they end up having to give that up eventually, like you mentioned earlier, they could still theoretically draw on B. And I think, do you play for that? Do you just try to use up as much time on A and then just play for the draw, or do you put everything you've got into point A?
I mean, it looks like they're trying to play for the draw right now. I still am confused about how the Sombra defense is intended to operate, because it got rolled so quickly on the first push.
I know,
in that last attack. So I'm hoping we get to see it function a little bit better. So we're just going to swap off right now once they see exactly the same thing that they saw before.
Yep, why not?
Will be Munchkin onto the Brigitte, Michelle over to the Diva, and Marvel on the Winston.
Yeah, here we go. Seoul Dynasty with all the time in the world, essentially. 6 minutes still on the clock here to push forward and see what Dante can get down on the Sombra. Seoul wasting no time in getting in there, getting a bit more charge.
Oh,
on that Zarya. Goodbye, Boba!
He missed the
Boba!
Oh, that hurts. I mean, he got stunned, and there was a Zarya bubble on him, but he didn't get onto the high ground with the jump.
Well, that might just be point A. That Houston Outlaws going to have to fight a short-handed defense here.
I mean, Moo's on the Wrecking Ball, so they are going to make another defense here. It would appear. They're going to try and push back on.
2 ticks taken already for Seoul. They get back. There's the slam coming in from Muma. Now over on the Wrecking Ball. Going to go down really quick, though. Got just enough shields to stay alive, though. In a nick of time. Houston Outlaws trying to push back on again. Jake in a lot of trouble. Goes down. Toby, though, by the same token. But guess what? Lucio can wall ride. Just goes around the side. And look at that. He gets Spree as well with the D-Mac. Fitz now takes on Raucus, and Seoul Dynasty easily cruising through A. 5 minutes and 39 seconds going into B, and they've got some ultimates coming online very soon.
It does matter, though, that Dante has the EMP available to him.
Yeah.
So they bought enough time to get EMP online.
Well, if you're Seoul, you just get that EMP out, right?
Right. I mean, if you get it out, or here's the thing, Seoul's probably going to poke right here and split around the walls so that they can't get EMP'd, and then just split up their supports so they have a sound barrier or trance available, and then push. So they're just going to wait for a moment right here, charge up the Zarya again. Now they're going to move on. With that, they have the trance. That was the trigger.
Dynasty only needs that 1 tick here on point B to go up 2-0 in this series. There's the grabs. They're going to pull Houston Outlaws off of the point. A lot of damage on the point. He's down. Self-destruct as well. Keeps people zoned out. Raucus trying to keep people alive. There's the EMP now coming in from Dante. Hits a good amount of members from Seoul Dynasty, but it doesn't hit J-Home. They've got the Transcendence. They stay alive. Muma and Dante down. It's cleanup now. So close to taking that single tick to win the map. We'll see if the Outlaws can hold on.
Nice move actually by Boink, but it doesn't matter.
That is it. Seoul Dynasty take a 2-0 lead in the series.
And that EMP had to hit the supports. It didn't hit either support, so sound barrier and trance were still there. It doesn't matter if you disable the tanks, if they could just stay alive.
You know, it was going to be a monumental effort for the Houston Outlaws to hold that anyway, but as it looks, the Seoul Dynasty forcing them to catch up when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Welcome back, y'all. We are live in Dallas, Texas, here at the homestand. And so far, we have another great match on your hands. Yes, it's 2-0 in favor of the Seoul Dynasty, but so many great moments in this one. Welcome back, everybody. It's Puckett and the crew. Texas, are you enjoying the show so far? Yes! Everything's bigger in Texas, including our crowd and my huge hat. I'm Puckett. I got the crew. We got Sully. We got Brenji the Bad, and of course, Joshua the Smart. Josh, I want to start with you here today because all the Houston fans in the venue were so pumped when we saw the Houston triple DPS strat. They crushed the first round of Control, but then Seoul stole the series back and took it back in their favor. How'd they get it done?
Yeah, it's something that's come up a lot, is that Houston's triple DPS compositions look really good. So in my Insights powered by Intel, I'm going to take you through how the Seoul Dynasty actually pushed them away from that composition. And this is what was taking them to great success early on. And it's this comp that they have up at the top left here, where they're able to have a very solid backline. They've got their Ana, they've got their Soldier, and then they've got a bunch of flankers that can go and do damage to Pharah, the Sombra, and then also Muma on the Wrecking Ball. And one of the big issues was that Seoul Dynasty were trying to counter it with their own triple DPS. And instead, on the second round, they actually switch over to running Marvel on the Winston and Fitz on the Sombra. And this composition really allows you to get hacks and dive onto targets. So I'm going to play this one out and have a look at how the team moves around. It's Linksa and it's Raucus that stick together generally as the backline. Then you've got the Pharah Mercy in the air. But the vulnerable target here is Muma. So they let the Houston Outlaws get onto the point, but they've got Fitz in behind. So I'm just going to pause it here as well and keep an eye on Fitz on the Sombra. He's got his eyes firmly on Muma. And if they manage to get the hack off, which they do, here he is, he's hacked, and the entirety of the Seoul Dynasty force him out of the fight. They kill him instantly. And immediately there, the Houston Outlaws decide this isn't something that they want to stick with for the rest of it. The backline goes back to spawn, and they decide to switch up their composition. And it's something that they were very uncomfortable with. It ruins the kind of roster that they even fielded for Oasis, because now they don't have anybody that can really play the diva, and it set them up for, unfortunately, a loss on map 1. Despite the fact that they had looked so good on triple DPS, Seoul Dynasty were prepared for it.
And so while the games were playing, you mentioned that that was your concern for the Houston lineup, not enough versatility.
Yeah, this is not the first time we're actually talking about this. This has been an ongoing issue we saw from them, whereas the individual players are obviously very good. The lack of versatility in itself is a little bit of an issue. If you're actually having Linkser and Jaken, no one can play the diva, causing a big issue. Now, if you're swapping Linkser out and then you bring in Spree, for example, for that diva play, then you're facing a whole different issue. So they're kind of stuck in their ways whenever they field a certain amount of players, and their opponents, they know what to expect from those players, so they can counter it fairly easy.
There were definitely some struggles on the Houston side, but Bren, we had one player on the Seoul Dynasty side that looks like he's back in his prime.
Yeah, we got the old Jae-Hong coming out as well. Apex Jae-Hong, as we like to call him. This guy was phenomenal this entire series long. Real treat to see. Part of this being the fact that he's now being supported so well. But it's nice to see this resurgence almost in his playstyle.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing so much better than he did in the 2018 season, and he's really being a core member once again of this squad, like he was way back in the day. For some of you old school fans, you'll know him from Lunatic High. But he was just an absolute monster when it comes to this role. And I do think as well, we need to tie this well into your point, Zoe, about the inflexibility of the Houston Outlaws, them not being comfortable running the diva comms. When Dante's on the diva, it is his responsibility to try and eat and negate some of these
You have
bio
to keep
nades.
in mind, he played 6 minutes on diva this stage and an overall of like 20-something minutes, like overall.
Exactly.
This season. It's
So,
not
so
enough.
can you really even, blame Dante for this one, because he hasn't got much time on the role. He's not used to playing against Anna's usually as well. And you can just see here from the statistics, the bio grenade kills right there, 11, is just phenomenal.
That's
in
huge.
a normal game, it never goes double digits, ever, never goes double digits. The guy is just an absolute monster, and it's good to see him finally on the role that he got famous for.
A lot of those sleep darts on the Pharah as well, as he was shutting everybody down. So far, this is all in Seoul's favor, but I gotta know, Dallas, Texas, Houston fans, do we have faith? Can Houston bring this one back? Mixed reviews here in Dallas. That is going to do it for us here at the half. When we come back, a big game 3. Houston has to win back-to-back to force a tiebreaker.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back, everybody. The first ever homestand weekend here on the Overwatch League. And guess what, Monty?
What?
Seoul Dynasty 2-0 over the Houston Outlaws right now. But Outlaws fans, do not despair just yet. There's still 2 maps to go. Reverse sweeps are a thing that exists.
Okay.
And it is possible the pure mutations of different multiverses that exist. In one of those, maybe, the Houston Outlaws come back and do a reverse sweep.
I've seen 14 million possible futures, and the Outlaws win 1.
There you go. There you go. From the Doctor of Strange himself, yes.
Your boos only give me life. I'm sorry.
It's true. It's true.
It's actually my superpower. I feed off of that. So anyway, yeah, back to the match. Though I don't want to take away from what Seoul's doing, because I think Seoul is really playing some excellent Overwatch today.
They are, honestly.
And
yeah.
they're showing us a new style of play around Marvel that I think is quite refreshing and new. And so it's really interesting to see how efficient they are on some of these pushes by just using a very intelligent self-destruct or primal rage and really just getting the maximum value out of their ults in these team fights.
I would agree. Their strategic flexibility has been impressive. And the thing is, in a meta like this where you do see similar compositions a lot of times on a lot of map, it is really your ability to adapt how those are played rather than what heroes are used that really kind of defines you as a great team in the league right now. And Seoul Dynasty in this match and in some of the other ones we've seen this stage are really kind of emerging as a team that's getting to do that.
Yeah, and they're going after the Houston supports quite a lot as well. They're trying to target them down and eliminate them at the start of the fight.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jaehong is basically just peeling for himself a lot of the time on this Ana. So
Jaehong's just having a great day.
Yeah, we are going to go to Blizzard World here.
Here we go. Back onto Blizzard World for our hybrid map. Focus on that Ana. We'll see. Seoul Dynasty makes any swaps here. Munchkin looking for an early shot. Didn't find one. He's no Widowmaker expert like Gesture, you know.
And Marvel will switch off back to the Winston here. Just doing a little bit of scouting with that Sombra before translocating back. So Seoul, once again, they will be running the Zenyatta here, this time on the attack as they approach the point. Hack onto Toby. And Outlaws again are running this 3-3 style without the Zarya and focusing on the Sombra instead.
Marvel just going into the high ground here, scattering the members of the Houston Outlaws. No kills onto those just yet, but Jake sent running a little bit there.
I mean, right now, the Seoul Dynasty just need to stay together. Like, the threat that is presented to them is getting picked off on a flank by the Sombra. Nice hack onto Fitz, though.
Yeah, that's right. Fitz only just able to do the damage to left click for now. Spree, though, getting D-Mech. That's big for the Seoul Dynasty. Jake getting chased in here. Maybe they can finish off Spree. Oh, and everybody on Outlaws dropping now. And even though Seoul lost Munchkin, it's looking pretty rough right now for Houston. And that's going to be point A, probably going over to Seoul. Yeah, it will, really quick.
I mean, we talked about this on the last map on Paris. It's the retakes that are so brutal with the Houston Outlaws composition, because once you have to challenge them and they're collected on the point, you don't have very many options if you do not have EMP. And now Dante has EMP, but it's too late.
Yeah. And again, we talked about adaptability within composition. Seoul Dynasty, knowing the Sombra's there, keeping everybody together, not allowing those flanking like picks to happen. That's what you do. Dante's got the EMP now, though, so maybe a chance for Houston to stall the payload out here.
I mean, you can see, though, they're falling back right now, trying to play around the jewel point. There's the EMP.
EMP only hits 3 members of Seoul Dynasty. Houston Outlaws trying to make something out of this. There's a hack onto Marvel, though, while he's in his primal rage, gonna rejoin his team. The payload has moved forward just a bit here. Grab used, but not getting a whole lot. Uma falling there. Houston Outlaws in a lot of trouble on the payload. Now it's just one of those situations where you just try to stop it for as long as you can while you give people up. I mean, die on the payload is the call right now.
And this is the thing about the Outlaws composition. You have to win with the EMP.
Yeah.
You must win because you can't take that heads-up fight because you simply do not have the damage to deal with Fitz's Zarya. Like, you can't compare. If you're fighting them head-to-head and Fitz is hitting his shots and having good tracking, which he does have.
So a lot of times when you see the Sombra substituted in, you see the Diva being the hero that's removed here, because then you still have the damage from the Zarya. But Houston, I feel like Houston's way of doing this is much more fragile, you know?
It is much more, I mean, it's very specific, I think, the way that you have to play it.
Exactly. It's like a house of cards that falls over a bit easier. Meanwhile, Seoul Dynasty continuing to push forward. Muma charges, separates himself, and that's going to be another 6v5 in favor of Seoul Dynasty. Going to be a D-Mech soon from Spree as well. Yep, getting D-Mech there. And again, Seoul Dynasty just slowly scraping everybody off the payload. That's going to be B.
That's B. Dante has another EMP right now, but just like the last fight, you just don't get a lot of value out of the EMP if you're using it at the start of a checkpoint when they could easily just respawn closer to the payload.
Right.
Like you need to get that EMP off when they are able to, when you're at the end of the point, so that when they reapproach and you don't have EMP, the Sombra might be able to get a pick or charge efficiently towards the next EMP.
Well, speaking of that, Dante has his EMP ready to go. The grab, he's going to try to counteract what Soul's trying to do. But that said, Soul just walking right through. Buma separating that side room. Immediately they collapse on him. Easy kill for the Seoul Dynasty. And that's another situation where you got to use that EMP properly.
And they already had the rally and the Transcendence running.
Yeah.
So they're not able to fight through that EMP. Soul is being so aggressive about their ult usage. They know exactly what Houston's plan is, so let's just dump our grab and dump our Transcendence at the start of the fight before they can get a spot to really use it. And now Spree, he did switch over to the Zarya for this push, and Dante now makes the change over to the D.Va as they try to defend here on C.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot of health for Soul to chew through, but there's not going to be really many ultimates available for Houston here. There's a Shatter coming down from Soul right now. Sound barrier, though, from the Outlaws as they try to push back in again. Jake getting pretty close to his rally. And Seoul Dynasty, they've got so much time, they can just pull back a little bit. They're like, all right, we'll just poke for a moment.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're going to play a poke game to get some of their ultimates online right now because they're so close to having 3 support ults up.
And Jake down early. Oh, what a pick from Seoul Dynasty. Buma pushing. He's got that shatter. Maybe he can get one under the card or something like that. Goes for it anyway. Oh, Transcendence right there for Jaehong, though. No follow-up opportunities for the Outlaws. Movement's charge doesn't connect with anyone. Now the grab comes in. Seoul Dynasty has a sound barrier to try to counteract that. Using the self-destruct as well to stay safe. Responding with their own grab. And that's a team fight win for Seoul Dynasty. And that's the end of the round. Seoul Dynasty with another really quick attack.
2 minutes, 51 seconds on that time bank. So plenty for the Seoul Dynasty to work with here.
Oh, yeah.
As they go on to their defense.
It's time for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see if Houston Outlaws can equalize. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Well, we've switched sides. Time for the Houston Outlaws to go on the attack, see if they can equalize Seoul. Seoul Dynasty, though, with another very, very quick attack, this time on Blizzard World. Some Seoul fans out in the crowd there. Obviously, we're in Texas, so a few more Houston fans there. Yeah, that's right. Don't forget, guys, pick up your all-access pass if you're at home. I suppose if you're here, pick it up later. Get to watch the game from top-down view, from any player's perspective. That's pretty cool. I use it a lot if I'm not casting. And we usually have a Q&A associated with that. Not this weekend, but it will be returning next week. And I want you to know that it is completely Monty's fault.
Yeah,
you can boo him.
Yeah, exactly.
Boo Monty right now. He deserves it.
They won't do it because they know it gives me power, though.
They've learned. Houston Outlaws on the attack here. Muma on the wrecking ball this time, scoping things out. taking a look at things. Are they going to make some swaps? They are.
All right, so they are going to be
Ooh,
going
how about this?
to a triple DPS spree onto the Tracer
Quad
here.
DPS even. But they're going to have to wait to attack it. Muma already did.
Rocket's coming out with the Hanzo. So some new looks here for the Houston Outlaws. Quad DPS will be the name of the game. They're going to zone everybody into Snacks Ramus here on the flank.
Gonna try to make a snack out of them. And they're getting some time on the point right now so far. They gotta get picks though, because Muma's gonna be kind of on his own on the point. So if the DPS aren't killing members of Seoul, then it's gonna be tough to take that one. One tick so far.
I mean, this is how you play the quad
Work it
DPS.
out.
You zone them out, and they have to try and walk through this rocket spam to get onto the point.
Marvel taking a lot of damage, but Rocket's the first to fall. Can they finish off Marvel? One more Rocket will do it. He tries to get back to Snacks Ramus. He lives. How in the world did he live through that?
How did Raucus die to a Zarya? I guess
Just got roasted, man.
Fitz snuck around the back of the point and just roasted Raucus.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you're aiming, you know, sometimes you don't notice Zarya coming. She can be very sneaky if she wants to.
I guess they lost track of Fitz's Zarya, thinking that the Zarya was still in the building, and they had no idea that there was actually a long flank going on.
Ooh, Spree with 6 health. Barely escaping there, needs a bit more. Houston Outlaws back on the point again, but they lose Jake one more time. Michelle flying up and taking him out. EMP from the Houston Outlaws on to Dynasty, but again, doesn't really result in much. In fact, it results in Seoul winning the fight.
I mean, the trance was there. The Transcendence, they didn't hit Jaehong. Like,
Yeah.
they have not been hitting the right people with these EMPs, and that's a lot of it is the credit to Seoul, right? They had 5 members out, looks like a good EMP, but if the trance is up, you can negate it almost instantly, and Seoul just playing they're so smart. Their shot calling has gotten so good.
It really has. They look very, very tight today.
My ultimate is almost ready.
On board with Fitz on the Zarya. Wow, 63% average energy. That is really high. That's a lot of damage coming out of that Zarya right now.
I mean, he hasn't died yet this map either.
No, that's crazy. Here we go, Houston Outlaws finally with some ultimates to use as they go in minefield used by Muma. Can they pick anybody off with it? Oh, Raucus, he gets his Dragon Strike eaten by Michelle, and Michelle eats the Pulse Bomb as well. Whoa!
Oh no.
Michelle coming in hungry with this one. 2 ultimates in just as many seconds, eaten by that Diva. Hack onto Fitz now as they try to turn it around, and now the DPS, maybe from Houston, getting a couple crucial picks here.
Yep, and they're gonna have an advantage too. Jaehong actually picks off Jake. That is enormous for them. Spree still harassing here on the lower level.
You don't see Zenyatta's kill Faras very often, but that's Jaehong we're talking about. Now Seoul Dynasty getting to regroup a bit, and they take down Muma. No tank for the Outlaws on the point right now, but they're still getting some percentage here.
I mean, this was winnable before Jaehong just killed everybody.
That's crazy. Gets Dante as well. Finally, Raucus comes back with a bit of revenge. Dragon Strike through the middle of the Seoul Dynasty team, and that might be enough to finally push the Houston Outlaws over the edge here on A. We will see. Barrage comes in. There's a grab, though, from Fitz. They get 2 more. Houston's still standing strong on the point for the moment, but Seoul Dynasty re-engaging. It's a brawl here. There's a barrage. Jake turns away before he gets the kill. Fitz gets another 2. There's just too much damage coming out of the Zarya right now.
And look at the re-engages from Seoul. They only got up to 2 ticks on that attack because they were just dancing on and off the point
This is
constantly.
crazy.
And Houston coming back now with another EMP. So they still have a chance here, but they've got less than 10 seconds to get there.
Spree, last Pulse Bomb got eaten, needs a good one here. Maybe throws it right in there. No, Zarya shield right there. Michelle, demeched. Ooh, Vengeance to touch it. And there's the zoning coming out from the Hammond. Here's the minefield now from Muma now, but Dante is down. Seoul Dynasty, look at that. Jaehong just clears out the mines with the Transcendence. And Michelle going on the warpath, taking out a few more members of the Houston Outlaws. And now Seoul Dynasty may have just done it here. Looks like it's gonna be a full hold for them. Only Jake left on the point, and he can't get there. Seoul Dynasty will win the series 3 maps in a row. Still 1 more to play, but it's all Dynasty right now.
It is, and that's another full hold against the Houston Outlaws. Too many
sure
of
is.
those these days for them.
Way too many lately. Jaehong, I think Jaehong and Marvel really having an amazing. Michelle too eating 2 ults in 2 seconds. Crazy stuff. We'll be back with that in a second.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody. Mika Burton here with Reinhardt behind me, so this is pretty awesome. I got a chance to talk to the Houston Outlaws at the half, and they told me that seeing Jake back in the lineup is going to be the status quo moving forward. His presence keeps the team level-headed, and he is also great under pressure. The Outlaws may have struggled in the first half, but Flame, the GM of the team, said, quote, "It's not over," which is true. There is still one map to go, and Houston said the energy of the crowd helps hype them up. So Texas, I'm gonna need y'all to make some noise. There it is. Thank you, Texas. So that's it for me. Back to you, Buckaroos, Monty and Doa.
Ooh, I've never been called a buckaroo before, have you?
It's the first time for everything.
I suppose so. Well, wow, what a series so far. I mean, Houston Outlaws, of course, I think that's not a bad idea to have Jake in there. He is obviously was one of their primary shot callers for a long time. It was weird not seeing him in the lineup. Can't really argue with that. Something we can possibly argue with is some of the compositional choices that the Outlaws have made today. We were talking a little bit during the break about that Sombra 3-3 composition too, and when you replace the Zarya with the Sombra, sure you can get the big EMPs, but then like we've seen in these maps so far, where does the damage come from to follow up with that?
I mean, part of it as well is that I think Jaehong and Toby are playing amazingly well, and that they are so aware of the EMP, and they're positioning themselves in a way that makes it very difficult for Dante to get an efficient use of that ultimate, because they're always there with a Transcendence or a Sound Barrier to come back in and keep the team topped up until the hack wears off.
I mean, to be fair, this is probably one of the best matches we've seen from Seoul Dynasty ever in the Overwatch League, I think, from this team.
They look really good.
I mean, Michelle, I just can't get over the fact that he ate 2 ultimates in 2 seconds, basically, on that Diva. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's good stuff, right?
Yeah. So we are going to map number 4. Seoul Dynasty has locked up the series, but Houston Outlaws a chance to get a map here. And again, when you look at the overall season, the overall playoff picture, that one map may matter down the road. So still something worth playing for as we move ahead onto our escort map, Rialto.
Yeah, I think this is just a very bad map for the Houston Outlaws, because this map is one of the most demanding in terms of sort of forcing teams to play a 3-tank, 3-support composition.
Sure is, yeah.
There's a lot of close quarters combat. The corners are very advantageous for these very close quarters fighting. So if you have that corner, you can just stall out the payload. The cover provides you the opportunity to just go with those tank and support heavy comps.
So Seoul Dynasty on the attack at the beginning. Once again, Munchkin takes a shot. And he's going to go and swap over to the Brigida or the Ana. Okay, we've seen Seoul do this a couple times, running that triple support with the 2 flex supports. What do you think about it?
It's interesting for sure. Like, we're going to see how this goes for them. Obviously, a lot of healing. And they are going to be trying to find Dante there, who is disrupting. This time they're running Spree on the Zarya with this, which is a more traditional way to run Sombra the 3-3.
Unfortunately, gets hit with the biotic grenade, the anti-heal, making it easy to pick him off. Meanwhile, somehow Marvel just manages to survive there.
I mean, the thing is, as soon as they saw Dante translocate, that's the go button for Seoul. That's when they're going to attack, because they know that the Sombra isn't going to be present in that engagement. They'll take that 6 versus 5 advantage.
Yeah.
So right now, and because there's no Diva, Seoul Dynasty, like, they can't stop any of the healing that's coming in from Ana, the biotic grenades, obviously, the sleep darts. So it's enabling this Ana play, and they still have that the orb of destruction to make sure that Muma, you can't really put down his shield in that front line.
They're almost to the end of point A already. One more fight here from the Houston Outlaws as they try to stop it. Munchkin up on the high ground, just keeping everybody healed here. Gets spooked away, but another big biotic grenade gets 2 supports with that one. Rocka's already down. Seoul Dynasty can push forward all they want here, really. He's just got a few low health members, though. Yeah, there goes Marvel. So, nice biotic grenade, but not enough healing overall on Seoul for them to complete that one.
I mean, Jaehong was going for the stylish play, but the Archer's going to get the grab. They're re-engaging.
All right, that's a bold move from Seoul, but it pays off. They actually get the kills.
And because they got Dante,
big shatter coming from Houston Outlaws. D-Mech onto Michelle right away. They're going to follow it up with a grab, throwing everything they've got at Seoul Dynasty. Transcendence. What? The charge just comes through out of nowhere. Marvel pushing them back. He gets taken out anyway. Houston having none of this, and they will hold at the end of point A for now.
Yeah, Dante manages to respawn and then use the EMP on the other side. Seoul, they've been playing a bit too aggressively right there. Obviously, Munchkin coming in and trying to make some big plays on that Ana.
Yeah.
But he's also got to be there to heal the rest of his team, and that's not what was happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what happens when you put a DPS player on Ana. They're like, hey, I can do a lot of damage with this hero.
If you hit a sleep dart there, it might have been game changing. But Outlaws realized he was up there and just went under the bridge, so no really effective line of sight.
Right, Red Hot Chili Pepper strategy, man. Under the bridge.
Under the bridge, right there.
Nobody gets that. Boink with the sound barrier. Hope he used well, though. That's a nice hack onto Marvel. You're gonna have to back off just a moment here. Muma trying to build up his Earth Shatter with those fire strikes.
Pushing up right now. Sound barrier available to the Houston Outlaws.
Yeah.
So they can potentially survive this graviton that Fitz is about to get.
Here we go. Pushing in now, Jaehoong very close to the Transcendence as well. They're going to push in. There's a hack onto Marvel. Sound barrier now for both teams as the brawl begins. Transcendence and self-destruct doesn't really matter. Seoul Dynasty already with 2 on that one, and now it's just cleanup. Fitz pushing forward here. Goodbye, Spree, and goodbye, Point A. Houston Outlaws have to give that one up.
Yeah, it looks like they blocked line of sight in the graviton, so they get to actually take out Muma in the front of that in spite of Raucus using the Transcendence.
Not bad.
And now Seoul Dynasty trying to push forward onto this very difficult high ground to take from the attacker's perspective. Houston's going to have plenty of time to set up there. They've got an EMP, they've got a Graviton. Now, what they should do, obviously, is try and stagger these abilities so that they can win the next couple of fights rather than stacking them up here and using everything they have right now.
I agree. Dante comes in with the EMP, got that translocator in case he needs it. Fitz and Marvel already down, so easy fight win for the Houston Outlaws here. Just a great EMP setup, and they were ready. You know, they were ready to do that damage, but they had the Zarya that time too.
That was a really late rally from Jake. It was after that fight, it was basically already won.
Yeah.
And they had taken a couple members out. That's something that might have been necessary to save, but at least they've still got the Graviton Surge right now. Soul, they don't have a Transcendence, they're not close to it, or a Sound Barrier, so there's a really good opportunity here to have a strong defense for Houston.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. I think you do want that rally back. That armor already has worn off of the team here as Seoul Dynasty pushes forward. Spree has that grab and a lot of damage to pair with it. The charge takes Muma out of the fight. No point can Jakar down. Whoa, what a turnaround for Seoul Dynasty, just bursting out of that grab, rolling over Houston.
I mean, Seoul is playing so aggressively against Houston. Like, they're playing kind of crazy, honestly. Like, Marvel just charging in there, but it's because they know the Graviton is up, and it's a technique where if he hits the pin, great, or he's zoning them off the grab so that they can't follow up, right?
Yeah.
So they're just creating so much space, and that has been really cool to see from Seoul.
It's like they put like Marvel and Fissure in like a brain transfer machine right now.
That's true.
Fissure's brain is in Marvel's body at the moment. There's a grab from Seoul. Jake and Boink down already. It's a 6v4 in favor of the Dynasty. They get a lot more than that as they push forward to the end of B. Spree doing what he can, but there's only so much you can do. Is that lone Zarya?
I mean, they did have a pretty good hold on B overall, so it did take some time off the time bank. Only 2.5. They'll take out Marvel here.
What was it here? Yeah, just
Muma getting the pin. Okay, so Muma with the pin and then reverse shatter. There we go. It was sort of off the screen.
That'll do it.
Turn around shatter right there.
Shatter there, but yeah. Seoul Dynasty. Good amount of ultimates coming up now. Getting close to the end. There's the engage with the self-destruct actually from Michelle. As the EMP comes in from Houston on the other side. Shatter for Muma. Doesn't catch a whole lot. In fact, Seoul Dynasty. Another EMP from Houston. Another team fight win from Seoul Dynasty though.
And the Houston Outlaws just trying to throw everything they can at this payload to buy them time, but now they have no tools to do it. Like, are they even going to get a sound barrier right now? Dante moves over to the Diva, just to have a little bit more survivability as they try and stall out this payload.
Seoul has so much right now. Multiple support ultimates. They're gonna have the Earth Shatter from Marvel in just a second here. Gonna go in. Or that Shatter doesn't really get a whole lot out of that. He's back he's in the back. He's by the spawn actually. Houston Outlaws getting separated just as they try to get into the payload, and that's gonna make it an easy win for Seoul Dynasty here in that one. It's just a matter of time here before Raucus's Transcendence ends and his life follows soon. That is it. I don't think they can get to it, no. Seoul Dynasty, yet another quick attack.
Not a huge time bank though, about a minute and 20 seconds, so Seoul Dynasty make it through with a little bit of extra time remaining. We are going to switch sides now, see what the Houston Outlaws can do on their attack round.
On Rialto, you'll take that though. You know, when you got, because Rialto, you've got really those 2 main points where you get held up a lot, even if you're a good team on the attack. And Seoul Dynasty didn't get held up too long on that one.
And we're going to look at another shatter here from Marvel. Obviously had a really big shatter there at the start, and here once again gets a nano boost. It's going to go ahead and give them a nice little shatter and spawn as well.
Wow. I mean, that's huge.
Just kill him through the spawn door.
Why not? Yeah. And this is like a new dimension of Marvel at this point. This is his end game, Monty. This is our Marvel's end game.
Day.
Yep.
What can you say about it?
Absolutely.
He's been very good, and we're seeing that sort of new, more aggressive version of Marvel, which is just, it's doing great things.
Yeah. And the thing is, the best part about all this is we know he can play that defensive, more measured style too. So he's just becoming a very good all-around tank.
Yeah. Impressive stuff.
Not a lot of tanks in the league can say that. Seoul Dynasty on the defense now. Houston Outlaws with a chance to push. And we'll see what they've got in mind strategically. A little bit of scouting first here.
Yeah, they'll just peek out with a Widowmaker or a Sonic Arrow. Just take a look at what Seoul Dynasty has. Not anything too crazy from them. Very traditional Reinhardt. 3 tank, 3 support.
Maybe the Dynamite from Muma on the Ashe just to get a bit of damage going. Nope, swapping over to the Reinhardt at the end. See that Dynamite every once in a while now out of the spawn doors. They're just going to jump right on the payload.
I mean, this is going to work well for the Outlaws because there's no Ana on the other side, so it's less of a need for the Diva. So having the Spree on Zarya with Dante on Sombra combination should be working a little bit better for them.
Great hack from Dante to start things off, getting it on the Reinhardt. No shield means Soul.
Not going to get too much meaningful distance. Still gets stopped at this corner, though, which is where you want to defend anyway.
Yeah. Dante showing his stuff, though. Now Seoul Dynasty pushing back the Outlaws a little bit.
I mean, the Outlaws rotating the high ground right now just to prevent them from defending at that corner. We see that a lot. Now they're going to force the re-engagement onto the payload.
All right. Seoul Dynasty got to go for it. Marvel, yeah, his shield was almost dead. They just shoot through it. Outlaws taking that one out easily. Now they've got the 6v5.
Yeah, those hacks, hacks onto the Reinhardt have been very good. So Dante doing a great job of targeting Marvel. And they focus fire excellently as well after that. So Houston now going to be moving forward here. Will there be another A defense? I don't think so.
It's going to be tough to get there if you're Seoul Dynasty. Maybe you can go for it, but I don't think they've got that kind of desperation in them.
Yeah, they're just not even going to try right now. It was going to take them too long to get Fitz back with the main roster.
Oh, finally Dante getting jumped on, gets to translocate out. Dante, their only pickup in the offseason for the Houston Outlaws. But a very good one. I mean, Dante was one of the best Sombras in the league last year.
Great Tracer player as well.
Exactly, yep. Definitely somebody who filled some gaps they had on this roster in terms of heroes, and he's definitely been a benefit for this team, despite what the record overall might show.
Well, I mean, unfortunately for them, they sort of got into a meta where Dante was not going to have the biggest impact.
True enough, although that said, big EMP on the Seoul Dynasty here. Doesn't hit the support, so J-Home still gets a Transcendence off in time. But that's a huge shatter from Muma. Muma saving the day here with a big Earth Shatter to win the fight against Seoul. They're going to keep this payload going.
And now they get the EMP that they wanted, right? Even though the Transcendence comes out, Seoul has been very good about saving those abilities. The shatter there from Muma is what turns things around in favor of the Outlaws. There's Jaeong, who is sitting on top waiting for that EMP.
Yeah.
Great shatter behind the cart.
That's how you want to do it, right? Sure, they got the Transcendence anyway, but there's no shields. There's no one to block that shatter. Go ahead and do it. Another grab comes in. Yeah. All right. I think that's a good grab. Using it to take out Marvel, definitely something you want to do. Muma, though, does drop as well. Another EMP from Dante already. J-Home down. Boinked off the edge of the map by Boink. Can finds a kill onto Jake here, but that payload stalled out a little bit. Seoul Dynasty making it a brawl.
I mean, it's a 3 versus 4 right now, and Seoul will end up stabilizing and winning this fight. But the Outlaws are changing the way they use some of these EMPs. It's a little trickier now for Seoul Dynasty. Seoul also wasted the grab going into that fight.
Yeah.
Really didn't have people set up to deal damage, and Marvel was just getting destroyed by Spree on that high ground.
It's too bad we didn't see more of this Houston from earlier in the series, though, because they are doing a better job of playing around that EMP now. Especially Muma on the Reinhardt, I think.
Yeah, they do look better on this map for sure.
Yep. Seoul Dynasty trying to hold this corner, and this is a very difficult one to attack through.
I personally believe this is the hardest corner to attack in Overwatch. It is very hard. Surprise shatter.
I mean, he went for it, but it got blocked by Houston Outlaws. They did take a big biotic grenade, though, from Munchkin. Grab, though, used by Houston, trying to turn this one around. Not a lot of kills from Seoul or any, really. But now Ring Jae-Hong falls. I don't think Seoul. Maybe they can turn it around, but another EMP comes in from Dante. Gets the kill onto Fitz. That is big. And Spree fully charged up, and that is going to be the payload continuing to move. That should be B for the Outlaws.
Yeah, Outlaws are now forcing the Seoul Dynasty to commit more ults because the EMP is just coming out later. They're not engaging with it any longer.
Way, way better EMP usage on this map from Houston.
Yeah, and this is where you want to use it too,
round.
to just like make sure you cap that point, right? So you can not worry about the long run back any longer. By the time you get to the next end of the next point, that's when the EMP comes up again.
Yeah. Whoa, they finally tracked down Dante. J-Home finding a pick there. 6v5 for Seoul.
And nano boost used there. They were definitely not expecting to pick off Dante, so they committed an ultimate that probably didn't have to be committed. However, that said, Seoul still looking pretty good on this defense. They're going to be coming up on three ultimates right now to match the three of the Outlaws.
Yeah, you still win the fight, so you're still okay with that if you're Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, there's not going to be an EMP either, so they're not going to be too scared to hide Toby right now, so he should be able to hit most of the members with a decent sound barrier.
I was just scared for the books in that building on that lower floor, man. Dangerous times. All those rockets flying around and stuff. Oh, Shatter coming in, and Munchkin drops early. Moving with another big one, and Houston Outlaws, they've been finding these fights to just crush Seoul Dynasty, and that's a great start for Point C.
I mean, that's how you do it, right? You want to isolate the Ana on that flank. As soon as they see that they can just carve Munchkin off from the rest of the group, that's when they come in with the speed boost and rally to make sure they can take that fight win. Lots of time left. I mean, Houston can finish this map faster than Seoul.
Certainly could. All depends on what happens in this fight right now. Transcendence for Raucus. Going to try to chase on the tank, but Spree unable to be saved. Houston Outlaws have to pull back a little bit, and now Seoul's going to find some defensive stability. You're on the point for now, but Dante's still lurking with that EMP. Oh, they get him! They found him. Hello.
Well, D.Va can't crouch, so that's got to get in the wave instead.
Exactly. You can't tactically crouch with D.Va. You got to give the tactical wave, you know?
Well, Seoul here, they've got some problems because Outlaws are coming back in. They've got some problems because Outlaws are coming back in, and they have that EMP, they have the Graviton Surge, so Houston can make one big push. They only need to win one team fight to complete this map.
Yeah.
So if they can use the Graviton to get the sound barrier out, then they can follow it off with the EMP.
That's the hope anyway. Seoul Dynasty some tools to use here. As Outlaws push forward, all right, nano boost used, now Spree waiting for it. There's the sound barrier from Outlaws.
They're just waiting it out right now.
Yep, Michelle really needs to eat this grab. He's done really well in the D.Va so far, negating ultimates with the defense matrix. Going to be the Shatter coming in from
Shatter the Sombra!
It's a big one, but now the grab comes in from Houston Outlaws. Not eaten, self-destruct. No kills. Marvel, can they keep alive? Marvel like 1 HP, they can't keep him alive. And Seoul Dynasty push back. That grab getting nothing at all.
It bought them time though, Dolan, that's the thing. They're going to be able to respawn, and now the trance coming in.
And Michelle dodges that hack around the pillar here. Dante trying to find one. He's got that EMP again. They finally deback Michelle, and it feels like it's all Houston right now, just handling the respawns coming in from the Seoul Dynasty. Now Fitz over on the Doom Fitz. We've seen him play it before. It's desperation now, trying to stay alive. Gets a little bit of shields,
doesn't
but
get the kill.
Down. No, now he gets around to Jake, but he's going to go down. It's still Houston looking okay, but a lot of members of Seoul have come back already. That's a great shatter from Muma again, though, and they've got the grab to boot. Houston Outlaws looking like they're ready to finish this attack, and they will.
Do. All right. So another chance here for the Houston Outlaws to take a map in this series.
Going to time bank. A chance here for the Houston Outlaws. Seoul will have to go back on the defense. We'll see what happens when we come back. Welcome back to extra innings here on Rialto between the Houston Outlaws and the Seoul Dynasty. Seoul Dynasty did manage to end it with a little bit more time in the time bank. But Houston Outlaws putting out a pretty good show towards the end of that. They've got 1 minute now to try to push the payload as far as they can.
And interesting, we are not going to see the Ana here, and Houston Outlaws will be running the same composition that Seoul did switch over to the Ana later as they realized there wasn't going to be that diva.
That's right.
So I think Houston probably has a strong opportunity to get a good push here right out of the gate.
I agree. Gonna start things off. And we'll see what Seoul can do. Houston Outlaws would be nice for them, of course, if they can win a map and leave this match with their heads held high at the end. But Seoul Dynasty certainly in a position to still claim that 4-0. They know exactly where Dante is. Yeah, he's not fooling anybody right now.
Doesn't need to fool anybody yet, though, but they are just going to jump onto Boink.
Yeah,
And
Boink falls early.
I mean, you have to do this. Oh,
Whoa.
that is a
Toby.
boop.
Whoa, more boops for the boop god.
As we say, of course.
That's right. And Seoul Dynasty, bit of defensive stability, and now just about 10 seconds left for the Houston Outlaws. They got to get something done right now.
It's so dangerous for them, too, to approach
yeah.
right now. Marvel's going to be there trying to get up to that primal rage.
Toby in position 2 to try to knock a few people off the bridge if he can. Going down, looking for it, can't quite do it. Jake, shield bashes back on when he would have fallen into the drink. Now Outlaws pushing forward here. Muma on the point, just swinging away. Seoul Dynasty giving them some ground. They're going to have some ultimates coming up soon, so they can fight this at the end of A.
Did force the translocate, and that's going to be the go button
Diving
for
in.
Seoul.
Oh, moving down early. They couldn't keep him alive. Fitz with an uppercut to end him. And Seoul Dynasty gets that 6v5 transcendence, though, from Rockets. And there's the EMP from Dante. Can the Outlaws turn it around? Marvel has a primal rage doing so much damage, swinging with that Winston here. Rallies come out from both Brigidas now. And Seoul Dynasty not giving up too much ground. Muma back on the wrecking ball. They've got the grab from Spree. Now the sound barrier from Seoul to try to live through it. Weather the storm and Boink is down. Marvel with a big kill there. And it's a 65 again. Make it less as Muma gets taken out. Houston Outlaws slowly losing members, hemorrhaging people off the point right now. And it's going to be it. Seoul Dynasty with a great hold here in OT.
Very nicely done. Again, the Transcendence. Predicting the EMP. There for the Graviton, there for the EMP.
Yeah.
Houston Outlaws doubled up on those abilities. I think they just needed to be a little bit more patient with the EMP.
I mean, it was just a lot of the decisiveness from the Seoul Dynasty side. That man on your screen right there, Toby, they're getting a great two-man boop here. We're going to see it, I believe, right now.
He's...
Wait for it. Yep. Zoned him out a little bit, and there they go. Time to take a swim. And guess what? Sorry, can't swim very well. It turns out Zenyatta, he can float, but he can't swim.
But he can't float on water for some reason.
No. Well, it's like a hoverboard, right? And I mean, it can't go on water,
Okay.
He's got Back to the Future style technology, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you don't sink, but you don't go anywhere.
I see.
So
I see how it works.
He just turns off the thrusters and drops. He's like, well, I accept my fate.
Thank you for explaining Omnic technology to me,
You're welcome. I'm an expert on Overwatch lore. You know that. So,
I know you are.
Yeah. There you go. Seoul Dynasty on the attack now. They've got a minute 54, and they don't need to push it that far. Just about halfway through point A will get them the 4-0 in this series.
I mean, still possible to be held here, though. It's not a lot of time, and especially with the way the 3-3 meta is played, if you can get an ult advantage right away, you can easily stall out for 2 minutes, even in the mirror.
Pretty much. Here we go. 3-3 with the Reinhardt on the Houston Outlaws side. Seoul Dynasty Munchkin looking for an early shot. Going to swap back over to that Brigitte, I would imagine. Yes, he does. And Seoul pushing. Looking for that 4-0. Nice sleep dart. Oh, not a sleep dart. My bad. Mumu was just crouching. Hard to tell sometimes.
Sometimes Doa gets confused by sleeping and crouching. If you crouch next to him, he'll try and wake you up. It's
That's true. What are you doing? How are you doing that while you're standing, kind of?
We're going to back off right now. Marvel actually swapping tanks. So they didn't see the opportunity on the Winston, so they are going to mix it up, and Marvel's going to be swinging away, making space.
Why not, man? I mean, just rushing forward. He's got the healing. There's the Zarya shield, though, on to Muma, but it doesn't help. Muma with another kill there. Gets a finishing blow. Now Spree knocked out of position. Going to get taken down. Seoul Dynasty getting the kills they need. That said, Michelle was demeched, so Houston Outlaws not giving up just yet here. Early Transcendence comes in from Raucus, but now it's going to be Jaehong with his as well.
I mean, they're coming back in with the Wrecking Ball, and Fitz is still alive, and he's got the grab.
Raucus down. Fitz needs to have a good grab. There we go. He gets it. Damage being done here. Self-destruct. Not claiming a whole lot, though. And Muma charging in. Jake taken out. It's going to be a major brawl on the payload there, but Muma separated from his team again. Marvel slamming down as he tries to turn this one around. They're so close. They've got the D-Mech onto Dante. And as the Houston Outlaws fall, it looks like that's going to be about it for this series. A 4-0 for the Seoul Dynasty.
And a very consequential win from Seoul. They had to come in and get it done today.
Yep.
Because they're 1-2 in this stage. They need to win all of their matches, except the Titans one. That's going to be their hardest one. But if they can win the rest, they keep themselves in contention for this stage playoff. So big win for them.
Yep. That's right. And man, what a performance for the Seoul Dynasty today. So many people on this team playing out of their minds. You know, one of the best series I think we've seen from multiple people on that team.
And honestly, I think it was hard for the Outlaws to prepare for this match because you don't come in here expecting this style from Seoul, them to play so aggressively.
Yeah, that's right. And it's honestly, it's going to be tough to choose our player of the match, but we got to make a choice. Our Omen by HP player of the match is going to be none other than Marvel. That's right, the main tank extraordinaire, really showing a diversity of styles here. Was known for that defensive patient style, showing us some great aggression today and paying off big time for the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, I liked a lot of his sort of proactive use of Primal Rage when they knew the EMP was going to come in to sort of separate the members of the Outlaws. This Shatter is crazy.
Oh, man. But, I mean, that's the thing. You charge your right out of the grab. That's generally what you're supposed to do. But if you don't get him to the wall and he's got that Earth Shatter, you leave yourself vulnerable. Marvel knowing how to handle it. Great day for him today.
I mean, it looked like the Sleep Dart hit Muma there while he was charging,
yeah,
which was the
point.
setup of that play, and Marvel then just capitalized. I mean, that's a very fast reaction from Marvel to just hit that Shatter and know that that play could be made.
I mean, that's just the team right now. Everyone firing on all cylinders here with the Seoul Dynasty today. But guys, we got one more match to go, and it's the home team playing. It's going to be the LA Valiant versus the Dallas Fuel here in Dallas for the first time ever. You do not want to miss it, guys. Should be a sick match when the Overwatch League returns.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.